Hello, good evening, and welcome to News Central TV. My name is Mazino Apio. Here are some stories making round beyond the continent. We begin in America, where former President Donald Trump is praising a Supreme Court ruling that limits the ability of individual federal judges to block executive actions nationwide. Calling the decision brilliant, Trump said it clears the way for his administration or a future one to move forward with policies that had previously been halted by lower courts. The ruling marks a significant shift in how federal courts can intervene in executive policymaking and is expected to have wide-reaching implications.
So thanks to this decision, we can now promptly file to proceed with these numerous policies and those that have been wrongly enjoined on a nationwide basis, including birthright citizenship, ending sanctuary city funding, suspending refugee resettlement, freezing unnecessary funding, stopping federal taxpayers from paying for transgender surgeries, and numerous other priorities of the American people. We have so many of them. I have a whole list of them.
Now to discuss this further, I'm joined by Ejike Okpa, Global Affairs Analyst. Ejike, once again, good evening to you. Thank you for joining us tonight on Beyond the Continent. So, Ejike, I'm going to be starting this evening with the big picture. How much does this ruling actually change the game for U.S. President when it comes to pushing through controversial policies?
Well, thank you for the question. This is not for Trump. This is for the subsequent president. So any future president, Democrat or Republican, at least now know that the federal judges, what I call the active federal judges, don't have the rights to do what they do. And sometimes they do it against the other side. But the Supreme Court ruling has cleared the way, for presidents to do the executive things that they are elected to do. If Congress don't like it, then Congress can pass a law to go after it, not for a judge, not for somebody who is unelected, to sit in a bench. Because what lawyers have done is they do what they call the venue shopping. They try to find a judge that will be sympathetic to them, and they just, issue a nationwide ruling. These judges have jurisdiction in a geography and not nationwide. So this is a good day. And thank God it's coming, before our celebration, July 4th, which is next week. So I'm happy for the ruling.
So, Ejike, Trump called the decision brilliant and said it would let him move on policies that had been blocked before. Should we be concerned about what this opens the door to?
Well, there's no need to be concerned. If you live in a country like I do and you obey the law, I am not concerned about a whole lot of things the judges do because, I'm never in violation of any law. So either way they do, but I just find it to be unnecessary when judges jump up and do the things they do, to stop the effort of a president. Remember when Obama did that, there was very, little injunctions, and it's just that Trump, when Trump shows up, he's a lightning rod for so many things, and everybody tried to stop him. But now, at least he had the courage through the DOJ to go to file a case before the Supreme Court, and then he got what he wanted. And so, the implication is that nobody has to be worried if they're within the law.
So from a global perspective, how might allies or even rivals interpret the shift in U.S. judicial power? Does it change how the world sees the strength of the U.S. or its institutions?
No, it doesn't change because this is about America. Anybody who still want to have relationship with you will have to do it on the basis of what they understand your legal standing is. And so I don't see how that's going to make anybody want to pull back. Instead, it's offer the clarity as to what the power of the president is with respect to laws. You don't want to be in a country where, there's confusion, there's misinterpretation or misunderstanding of what the law is. The more clear a law is, the more beneficial it is for those who are going to make use of it.
So, Ejike, please, if you would give us a real-world example, what's one stalled policy this ruling might put back in play? How might that affect other countries as well?
Well, I don't know how it will affect other countries, except, if you come in here, if somebody wants to come to America and you do it the legal way, you have no concerns. If you do it the illegal way, then you're going to have concerns. You're going to be exposed to the law that says, you are not authorized to be in the country. And then now that this has, happened, the president has through the government agencies that handles deportation to go after the person and take them out. Other than that, there's no need to be worried about it. We have sanctuary cities. We have, some democratically run cities and states will come up and want to do something just to thwart the president's effort. They're the ones that are going to be concerned now. Now, for countries, I don't think there's anything, that they have to be worried about, except if they are intentionally shipping people to America illegally, to violate America. But if they're not doing it, remember, immigration is not a government of a country doing it. Usually, majority of people that want to go to a country come because of their own personal desires, not because their government says, okay, we're going to ship you over here so you can do this. And maybe there are some allegations to that effect, but most people want to leave because they wanted to leave, not because their government is saying you're going to be an agent. Now, China may be the one doing that, but majority of immigrants to America are coming because of personal choices.
Well, AGK, thank you very much for being with us this evening on the matter then. Now, in the meantime, U.S. Secretary of Homeland Security Kristi Noem has signed a new agreement with Guatemala's Interior Minister Francisco Jimenez to strengthen bilateral cooperation on border security. The deal aims to enhance coordination on immigration, or rather migration management, information sharing, and law enforcement efforts. Now, Guatemala marked the final stop on Noem's 3-day tour of Central America, where she met with the presidents of Panama, Costa Rica, Honduras, and Guatemala.
Have done here today is signed an agreement that is a joint security agreement which will set forward unprecedented opportunity for us to share information to go after those who would wish to perpetuate harm against the citizens of Guatemala and the United States of America. This joint security partnership will allow us to share background information, biometric data sharing, criminal vetting, and so individuals and security protocols at our airports, at our ports, at our borders, and also between our intelligence agencies so that we can better protect the families that live in our countries. We have hundreds of them identified in the United States that President Trump has identified already and found that were trafficked or were separated from their families. Many of them are Guatemalans, and the President has indicated that he would like to help facilitate that return to their families and help them with their education and their training quickly, and would work with us to do that.
Este acuerdo nos permitirá fortalecer nuestras capacidades operativas, logísticas y humanas, facilitando una detección más efectiva de personas vinculadas a redes delictivas y terroristas.
Rain in Venezuela has caused rivers to overflow and triggered landslides. This has swept away homes and collapsed a highway bridge, with 5 states affected and no casualties reported so far. The Venezuelan government responded with emergency assistance, providing medical care, food, and other essential supplies. Nearby Andean state, including Táchira, Barinas, and Chicilo, were also impacted by the same tropical waves-driven rainfall. Authorities stated that more than 640 families have received aid, and engineers are working to repair the damaged infrastructure.
Llevó todos los enseres, la casa, logramos sacar los animales. Y de alguna u otra manera salimos nosotros con vida, que es lo importante. Es algo muy doloroso, muy fuerte, no se lo deseo a nadie porque con la furia de la naturaleza nadie puede.
Por las fuertes lluvias donde yo vivo, se llevó parte de terreno, 3 postas y la casa quedó muy cerca de la vía del río. Y por eso estoy aquí, porque me mandaron a desalojar la vivienda, porque hasta que no calmen las lluvias y no se baje la cantidad de agua del río, no puede uno habitar esa vivienda. Y bueno, pasando tremendo susto aquí, que habíamos pasado hacía muchos años, pero esta vez fue más fuerte. De verdad que la pasamos súper mal. El río demasiado crecido y de verdad que estábamos.
Still in South America, professors and students marched with candlelight through Buenos Aires protesting President Javier Milei's sweeping education cuts, calling it outrageous. The University of Buenos Aires reports real-term funding dropped by about 80%, forcing open-air classes and power cuts at campuses. With faculty wages falling below poverty levels, protesters are demanding restored budgets and fair pay.
Nosotros estamos acá en esta marcha de las antorchas porque desde que asumió Javier Milei como presidente de la nación, nuestro poder de compra se ha reducido en un 38%. El precio de los alimentos ha subido muchísimo, pero no solo por eso, no es una cuestión salarial, es una cuestión que tiene que ver con la entrega de soberanía tecnológica, la entrega de soberanía científica, la destrucción de un sistema público universitario que es un faro para América Latina. En esa facultad que está ahí atrás salieron 3 premios Nobel de Medicina y nos parece un despropósito lo que se está haciendo con la educación superior en la Argentina.
We'll go on our first break now. When we come back, families of French hostages in Iran demand proof of life after prison strike. I'll bring you the details in a bit. Stay with us. Welcome back. Now, U.S. House Speaker Mike Johnson is calling on Iran to enter direct negotiations with his country. He spoke following what he described as a very successful U.S. military operation that reportedly disabled key Iranian facilities. Speaking to reporters after a classified House briefing, Johnson said the strike showed American strength and could mark a turning point in regional diplomacy.
Next, and what we expect, and one of the things that was discussed this morning, is that we now need Iran to engage with us in direct, good faith talks, negotiations, not through third parties, not through other countries. They need to sit down at the table with us and ensure that this peace is truly lasting. We're on the verge of a real peace in the Middle East for the first time in a long time. It's clear, everyone can see by the videos, that these massive ordnance penetrating bombs did the job. And I think their key facilities have been disabled, and I think Iran is now a long time away from doing what they might have done before this very successful operation. I'm not sure how much of that's classified, and I shouldn't be getting into that today. But we are very encouraged about the situation and where it stands. We're very encouraged. I think the greatest evidence that we have of the effectiveness of this mission was that Iran came immediately and was willing to engage in a ceasefire agreement. That would have been unthinkable just a few weeks back. So it's a very good thing for the whole world.
Families and lawyers of 2 French nationals, Cécile Houle and Jacques Paris, detained in Iran for 3 years, are denouncing their enforced disappearance following an Israeli airstrike on Tehran's Evin prison, where the couple is held. Anne-Laure Paris, daughter of Jacques Paris, described the dire conditions her father and Houle endured, expressing deep concern for their well-being. While France has been assured that Houle and Paris were not harmed, their families demand immediate proof of life and their release.
Étant donné la gravité de la situation, je m'exprime aujourd'hui face à vous pour la première fois, car j'ai peur pour la vie de mon père. Et actuellement, je ne sais pas où il se trouve. Lors de son dernier appel, le 28 mai dernier, mon père m'a dit, en me regardant dans les yeux, à travers l'écran du téléphone, il m'a dit, écoute-moi, je suis lessivée, tu comprends ce que ça veut dire.
En l'absence d'un contact direct avec Cécile et Jacques, tant qu'on ne leur aura pas parlé et tant qu'on ne les aura pas vus, pour nous, nous ne saurons pas s'ils sont vivants, s'ils vont bien et si effectivement ils n'ont pas été touchés par les bombardements.
À l'heure où on se parle, Cécile et Jacques Otages d'État retenus arbitrairement et de façon cruelle et inhumaine en Iran sont portés disparus. En droit, c'est une disparition forcée. Nous ne savons pas où se trouvent Jacques et Cécile. Ils peuvent aussi bien avoir été transférés dans une autre prison, un autre établissement pénitentiaire et soumis à des conditions plus dures encore de détention. Ils peuvent être, à l'heure où nous nous parlons, sous, et je le dis, et je suis bien en peine de le dire, et j'espère que les familles ne m'en feront pas grief, sous des décombres. Et c'est un scénario auquel nous ne pourrions nous résoudre.
German officials have raised alarm over the spying capabilities of a Hangzhou DeepSeek artificial intelligence basic technology research company, calling on Apple and Google to consider blocking access to the app. Now, Berlin Commissioner for Data Protection and Freedom of Information, Mike Camp, said in a statement that the watchdog believes DeepSeek is illegally sending user data to China. Germany is the latest country to raise concerns over DeepSeek's data practices after Italian officials earlier this year called on their government to block the Chinese AI company's access to Italy. Russian President Vladimir Putin has acknowledged that the peace proposals from Russia and Ukraine are contradictory, but emphasized that this is not unexpected. Putin expressed hope that continued dialogue could help bridge the differences, confirming that negotiators from both sides are coordinating the timing for the next round of talks, expected to take place in Istanbul. He also noted that Russia is prepared to return approximately 3,000 more Ukrainian soldiers' bodies.
Абсолютно противоположных меморандума, но переговоры для того и организуются, и проводятся для того, чтобы искать пути сближения. А то, что они были прямо противоположными, мне кажется, здесь удивительного тоже ничего нет. Детализировать я бы не хотел, потому что считаю нецелесообразным, даже вредным предварять сам.
A Saudi Airlines flight made an emergency landing at Cairo International Airport after the cabin director died mid-air after suffering a fatal heart attack during a flight from Jeddah to London. According to aviation and security sources, Cairo's control tower received a distress call from the aircraft's captain, prompting an immediate reroute and landing at the nearest airport to handle the emergency. Saudi Airlines has confirmed the incident in a statement released on X, where it extended its heartfelt condolences to Saeed's family. And Japan has executed a man dubbed the Twitter killer, who murdered and dismembered 9 people he met online in the nation's first enactment of the death penalty since 2022. 34-year-old Takahiro Shiraishi was hanged for killing his young victims, all but one of whom were women, after contacting them on X platform. He had targeted users who posted about taking their own life, telling them he could help them in their plans or even die with them. He was said to have killed the 3 teenage girls and 5 women after raping them, while also killing the boyfriend of one of the women to conceal his tracks.
本件につきましては、裁判において十分な審理を経た上で死刑判決が確定をしたものであります。法務大臣として慎重な上にも慎重な検討を加えた上で死刑を執行した次第で、執行を命令した次第であります。
World Health Organization, the WHO, has expressed concerns over non-access to adequate information in its investigation into the origins of COVID-19. It says China did not share information needed to evaluate fully all the hypotheses on how the pandemic began. The organization's chief, Tedros Adhanom, had also mentioned that other governments have not shared their own intelligence reports on the pandemic despite WHO's requests.
On animal, WHO recognized that China has shared some of this information, but not everything that we have requested. Despite our repeated requests, China has provided hundreds of viral sequences from individuals with COVID-19 early in the pandemic. More detailed information on animals sold at markets in Wuhan, and information on work done and biosafety conditions at laboratories in Wuhan. WHO is also aware of intelligence reports performed by other governments around the world on the origins of COVID-19. We have also requested access to those reports. Neither WHO nor SEGO has yet had access to these reports or their underlying data.
Now, the World Health Organization's vaccine chief, Kate O'Brien, says there is no evidence of harm from the use of thimerosal, a mercury-based preservative, which has been used safely for decades, now with major bodies finding no link to illness. Her response was said to contradict a recent U.S. Vaccine Advisory Panel's decision to stop recommending flu vaccines containing the ingredient. WHO emphasized its continued importance in ensuring vaccine safety through multi-dose vials, especially in low-resource settings. And that's all the news from beyond the continent this evening. Now, do remember you may send your eyewitness reports to the WhatsApp number on your screens now. And do follow us on social media. We are at News Central TV. You may watch News Central live on DSTV channel 422, GoTV channel 23, Star Times 274, Avo TV, and of course on YouTube. Many thanks for watching. My name is Mazino Appeal.